Nerds live here today on WrestleMania Sunday, Tony. It is WrestleMania Sunday. Anybody who was watching anything that's been going on the last week over on thechairshot.com, which of course is the home for Bandwagon Nerds, will know that there's been a lot of WrestleMania coverage over on thechairshot.com. Just a little bit the last 2 weeks. Last year we had Cashomania. This year it's just like holy shit mania with all the stuff that we've putting out this week. Tony, how you doing, man? Welcome back into the Bandwagon Nerds. I mean, it's a stripped down version of the Bandwagon here today. Patrick O'Dowd out. Ray Cash is probably sleeping. It's just me and you, the dynamic duo of podcasting here today.
We do provide a lot of content between the two of us, I must
We
say,
do.
and we've been doing it for over a decade. Um, it's a shout out to our friendship. Actually, if we didn't like each other that much, I've said that about working with Dan, and we all really work well together. That's why it's so fun to be on this show. But like you said, Pat's bowling for dollars. Ray is cashing in on his vacation. See what I did right there?
I saw that.
But I am thrilled to be here talking nerdy stuff with you folks. If you didn't already watch us do the Four Corners podcast, or you want to listen to it tomorrow at work on Chairshot Radio Network, make sure you're doing that as well. But yeah, the website, man, the new version of the website isn't even out yet, but there's so many cool things like this day in history. There's top fives, there's trivia. Um, we had a draft, a fantasy draft.
Yeah.
There's another big cool event that everybody's already picking stuff to do for. I don't want to give it away. Maybe Ray will announce it on our live chair shot WrestleMania Night 2 preview. And then make sure you're checking out Attitude of Aggression's YouTube channel after WrestleMania. We're going to have the final pre-show of the weekend. I mean, I can't wait for Game Gone Wrong to come back this summer too, Dave, over at
Dude,
attitudeofaggression.com.
we are not far away from a lot of shit popping
Oh,
off. And we're going to
think about
get
all these
into
movies.
Yeah, we're going to get into some of that here today on this episode of Bandwagon Nerds. We got 3 shows that we're reviewing right now, which is a new record for us, and they are all fantastic. And like the title for this episode that I came up with, Parallels and Purpose. There's a lot of parallels between these 3 shows that you wouldn't think would be there, but when you watch them and you think about the overall arc of the stories from all 3 of them, there's a lot of similarities between these 3 that it's like, that's very interesting. So we got that going on. We're going to watch a few trailers, including a big one that I think might redeem one of the movies that you and I were very down on with some of the stuff we've seen previously. I think they may have redeemed themselves. And we got some news. We're going to talk about CinemaCon and a lot of the stuff coming out of CinemaCon. And I'll say this right now, man. This week has been difficult because the fakery going on stemming from CinemaCon. What's real, what's not, like Discussing Fish put out the Avengers Doomsday trailer that you have to like, wait, what, okay, it's Discussing Fish. It's not discussing film, but
I shared that one. And the funniest things that I thought was like somebody popular or like a well-known critic or somebody was like, they had me until 47 seconds in when I saw.
But I mean, that stuff was rampant this week with just like things coming out of CinemaCon. Like, is this real? Is this not real? You're double checking sources. Where's the source from this trailer? Okay, that's all bullshit. But then you get these stories that are coming out and everybody's talking about what they saw at CinemaCon that's real. And we'll talk about some of that stuff because even though we didn't get an Avengers Doomsday trailer yet, clearly something was seen there that got everybody talking. So we'll talk about that and some other news stories, but let's get right into it. Let's jump into the first show we're going to talk about. And this week we're going to lead off with The Boys and episode 3, final season of The Boys. And man, this is one of these episodes where so they end up going and finding Stan Edgar. And they go and they find him. Well, we find out early on, right off the bat. Let's not skip ahead too much. We find out Soldier Boy did in fact survive this attack on him, and we find out why. And it's very important because this revelation is the reason why the entire episode revolves around this. And V1, so an original version of Compound V that the scientist. What's the little girl's name? Vicky was her mom, but what's her Zoe? So Zoe's dad is, of course, he's the biologist who's coming up with the virus that's going to kill all the soups. And they find out early on, they get the lab results back. Sage gets the lab results back on Soldier Boy, and they find out that he had V1 in his system, which I guess is the earliest iteration of Compound V that they came up with. And unlike the later versions of Compound V, which had like, and it's very, I mean, what they describe is very much like anybody who, of course, lived through the pandemic and saw all the stuff about the variants of the COVID-19 disease and how they would have spike proteins and all that sort of stuff. And you get to learn biology, will recognize some of the stuff that they talk about here, which is where the receptors to the virus and things binding to it. But the original version of V1 had no spike proteins or nothing for it to bind to. So it was immune from anything that could get to it. Soldier Boy has this, which is why he's immune to this virus, but nobody else does. So the episode shifts dramatically where now they're trying to find where might this version of V1 be. Homelander is similarly looking for this version of V1 because he knows it will make him immortal and he can't be killed. And everything shifts in this episode. So let me jump right to you early on this thing. This revelation as to why Soldier Boy didn't die and the existence of V1 and whether it even exists or not anymore really is the focal point of episode 3, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically makes them immortal, right? Like, we're going to have a good time talking about a vision that Homelander had. We won't have to jump into that quite yet. But from everything I've heard, like, you live forever, right? So as long as you don't, get your head detached from your body in some form or fashion, most diseases or ailments or ills or whatever you're gonna live through. You're gonna, we seen him have the exterior effects, but it just didn't kill him. Man, it's good to have that character back. By the way, he has a lot of really cool interactions in this episode, and Jensen Ackles plays that character just so well. To finally have that interaction between him and Homelander again, this was a really good episode.
Yeah, let's talk about Soldier Boy a little bit because yeah, he does. He's really he is not going to embrace and father-son relationships are huge in this episode. Oh my god, it is just there across the board. And this is where I want to draw the parallel. Homelander took on Omni-Man in Battle Royal Madness, and you get to see a very distinct difference between Homelander and Omni-Man in this episode, especially with their, how far they're willing to go with their kids. But yeah, Soldier Boy basically thinks Homelander's pathetic. Telling him, you need to use Just for Men on your gray pubes, that sort of thing. And
as he bathes in fucking
milk,
breast milk from Mount Sinai Hospital.
It's like, what the fuck are we doing here? But it's so good. It's so funny. And at one point, so like near the end, Soldier Boy decides to get it on with a firecracker, right? Is that the chick's name?
Yep.
And, he's all like, I thought it was just going to be some petty revenge shit. She's the one who kind of gets through to him that because he's like Soldier Boy thinks Homelander looks at him and looks like some pathetic secondary sort of thing that's not as good as him. Firecrackers, no, it's pretty much the opposite. And you can see at that moment something shifts and it's like, oh shit. Now he's going to start learning to respect Homelander and actually see him as a son. And that's bad news for everybody, perhaps. But I thought that was an interesting moment where he's like, I haven't fucked anybody that hard since I railed somebody over,
like I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, yes, she is. I don't know who that is. But man, that part was very interesting. But I agree with you. Soldier Boy is a huge addition to this series at this point in this season. And the fact that we're not done with him. And realistically, he cannot be killed. Even Homelander doesn't really fuck with him. That sort of thing. I think Soldier Boy lasers him in the chest and, Homelander kind of shrugs it off. But yeah, the way that Homelander treats everybody is very different than the way he treats Soldier Boy.
No, Soldier Boy didn't laser him. That's later in the episode. His son does that.
Oh, Ryan does that. Right. You're right. Let's, I think like the other stuff that's important in this episode, let's talk about the Vision. You want to talk about the Vision?
No, I didn't want to talk about it yesterday. I don't want to talk about it today. Let's talk about the Vision.
We get a guest spot from Elizabeth Shue, who comes back as Madeline.
Actually, yeah, I do want to talk about this Vision more than the one we had to talk about yesterday. So,
not that Vision, yeah. No, we don't need to talk about that. We got Homelander is at his absolute lowest. He's hearing voices, all this stuff in his. I mean, you could see Homelander's mentally unraveling at this point because he's dealing with the consequences of Soldier Boy basically calling him pathetic and all this stuff and daddy issues and that sort of thing. Madeline comes to him in a vision as an angel of some sort, um, who basically puts him on the path towards where he needs to go. And at the end, exposes her radiant breasts filled with the milk of the gods and that sort of thing. And this is what galvanizes Homelander and puts him on the path to where he knows where he has to be. Now, one of the parallels I wanted to draw with Invincible, and there's many between the boys and Invincible, and we'll get to the other one, but one of the early ones I wanted to draw was Homelander basically, just kind of saying, kill everybody to find this stuff, right? Take everybody out, purge everybody, which is very similar to, what is it, Emperor Targ in Invincible, as we'll talk about. Thrag, sorry. Yeah, Thrag later on, where he does the same thing, purge the weak, and they all kill each other, until there's only a few left. Soldier Boy's, or not Soldier Boy, Homelander's kind of calling for the same sort of thing here, isn't he? Purge the weak so that we can find where this V1 is, and we'll all be cool. We'll all live forever.
Thrag has an actual purpose behind it. Not saying it's right, but Homelander's only purpose is to just accomplish the V1. He doesn't really he could give a shit whether or not he has to call the herd or not. It's just something he's going to do to make sure he gets what he wants. On the other hand, I think Thrag, in some delusional type of way, actually believes in what he's doing is the right thing for his people. So I get kind of a parallel, but it's a little bit it's going to be really weird. Since I think Thrag's a better person than Homelander. That's how shitty of a person Homelander is. He is everything everybody has told him he is, and he still is. He is demented and weird and stupid and empty and envious and hollow. And he deserves to be all of those things because every time he's given an opportunity in the past to do anything redeeming, look at what happened when Ryan walked in. He couldn't even take any blame. He said, "Hey, don't worry, I won't hold anything against you."
You, right. Yeah, exactly. No, that's a really good point. Homelander has like you're saying, Thrag did it because he really thought that there were elements of weakness in the Viltrumite.
He believed in the person before him, right? Who's the first
Alar or something like that? Or...
Yeah, I'll have to make sure I pull that cast up.
Yeah, when we get
good discussion.
It's just there's a crossover here. It's an interesting parallel between the two shows. But you're absolutely right. Homelander has no real purpose for what he wants to do other than for himself. Get the V1, make myself immortal, fuck everybody else. They're all collateral damage. And all of them, including the people closest to him. Not that they're already Sage, but even Sage is like listening to his plan and like, this guy's fucked up. And he's really becoming, coming loose and unraveling at the seams.
I'm not saying whatever she could possibly have as a failsafe will work, but you'd be stupid to think that Sage doesn't have a plan for when she can't control Homelander anymore.
She's Batman. She's going to be the Batman of this thing. She's going to have the contingency plan. She may be, at the end of the day, what takes him out because nothing else is probably going to work. But I agree with you. Sage always is one step ahead of everybody. And I imagine she's one step ahead of Homelander and has probably figured out a way to take him down.
Or when she's realized that her time is very short, she's going to pass that plan along to somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Because her time is going to be kind of short. Let's talk about what happens at the compound with Huey and Maverick, Translucent Sun, where they lie to him about what really happened to him. And Huey's trying to reach out to him and be this consoling figure. And Starlight, right? That's her name, Starlight. Annie's name is Starlight.
Not Stardust.
Yeah, not Stardust. That's later on tonight. Not or that was yesterday. That was yesterday. But Starlight is like, there's one point where she goes to Huey and she's like, it's been so long since I've been around anybody who was doing anything for the right reasons, not just doing things for themselves and that sort of thing. So, she loves Huey. And then at the end of all this stuff, everything goes crazy. This, the werewolf dude and the bald gal who, the fucking story that she told about, I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Even the deep is like, okay. I mean, when you've kind of like mortified the Deep a little bit. You've really accomplished something because this guy's as
and
fucked as it gets.
and you got asked to go, exclusive personally.
Yeah, personally, Homelander asked me to go personally. So they show up, and yeah, the one who can just pop people from inside, she's going to end up killing Maverick as Huey and Maverick are fighting once Maverick figures out or is told what really happened to his dad. I love Huey just swinging a golf club at the air, and it's so funny. Like here's another parallel. We were talking in I think it was the Big Five chat on X that I still do have access to, and they were talking about Mick Foley wrestling the Invisible Man, right? And you get this scene with Huey basically going to war with the Invisible Man, and I thought, well, that's very convenient that that's happening. It's a fun fight, but at the end, the whoever this individual is who can blow people up from the inside kills Maverick. Annie thinks Huey was blown apart, and the fact that realizing that he's not and that he's still alive really affects her, and she takes off. She just leaves Huey behind. It's like I can't deal with the thought of losing you. That's probably a pretty big moment in the grand scheme of things. Go ahead,
Cindy, the telekinetic soup kills Maverick. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think of that whole scene and just Starlight's kind of like her approach to Huey and just her realizing that it's a loss that she just can't bear?
I thought he killed Huey for a second or two, to be honest with you, right?
Yeah.
Because you just kind of see all of a sudden, and you're like, you don't realize that, I guess, that you become untranslucent once you get exploded. So it's the skin. The skin was keeping them translucent. So once that comes out of the... Anyway, comic book science. Yeah, Starlight just doesn't want to get hurt again. It's happened too many times. And just when she was starting to be vulnerable again, and this scare happens. So she'll be back.
She will. And she'll be back with reinforcements, I think. But I think, like you're saying, she's vulnerable. And like we talked earlier, her basically saying it's been so long since I've been around somebody doing the right thing, that all comes full circle. Speaking of coming full circle, Butcher and Ryan,
92.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
next week.
There.
Next week. Butcher. So Ryan apparently has been communing with Zoe at the very beginning of the episode. The Russian military agents come across Ryan in some house somewhere. Ryan kills them all, but Ryan's been talking with Zoe, and he goes and he meets up with Zoe, and then of course the whole thing about Zoe wants to kill Butcher. Obvious reasons why. Ryan is not too pleased with Butcher either. But then we get the scene where Butcher comes out. He sees Ryan. They go and they have a beer together where, Butcher tells the bartender he's 30, sort of thing. But Butcher convinces Ryan to be the vessel of the virus and basically throw it in his dad's face, knowing it's going to kill him. It's going to kill Ryan. It's going to kill Billy. And it's going to kill every soup on the planet, basically. And Ryan agrees to do this. And then I forget what happens where Butcher decides that that's not going to work because, is it because of
Zoe finds her dad?
Right.
Zoe finds her dad, and then the dad finds out everything was a lie. So he decides to destroy the virus so they didn't have anything left.
Right. That's right. I was trying to remember the chronology of events, but Zoe goes to the lab.
You got sober Tony today.
For now. I can't wait for drunk Tony later on. So
that's not going to be till after WrestleMania.
Yeah. But like you're saying, Zoe stows away in the van that Frenchie and Kimiko are driving around with. And Kimiko's been watching way too much porn.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want to stop and that sort of thing.
And that's fine.
That's fine. That's fine. I want to try out cunnilingus. I learned about it and I want to try. And Frenchie's like, okay.
Even the way she randomly comments about stuff is just all in a adult sexual nature when it's talking about something that has nothing to do with any type of explicitness.
It's fucking great.
I
love Kimiko. She's my favorite.
Oh, yes.
But and we get an awkward moment between her and Frenchie because Frenchie wants nothing to do with kids and Kimiko wants 2 girls and a boy and to live and have a home and be at peace. And Frenchie is not.
See what happens when these women start talking, Dave?
I know, man. Yes, exactly.
Send your hate mail to @WrestlingRealist.
That's right.
With no I.
That's right. All your hate tweets this week for you could at him with the misogynistic viewpoints of the guys on Bandwagon Nerds. Now, but Zoe shows up at the compound. She finds her dad is still alive. She knows she's been lied to. He knows he's been lied to. That Butcher had said that Zoe was dead. Yeah, they take the bleach, they wipe out all the vials, they wipe out all the stuff. That's all gone. And that's when Butcher basically says, meanwhile, as stuff is going on at the compound, they're kind of getting the idea from some files that they've got that they were able to unredact the redactions. Fort Harmony, I think is what they said, is the
Yeah,
name
it
of the
kept
place
coming
that
up in a whole bunch of
kept
different
coming up. So
times,
that might
40s,
be
50s,
where,
60s.
right, that might be, and that sounds very unidentified history, like, oh, it's Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. There it is. So there's a nice tie in there, but they're heading in that direction. Zoe takes her dad. He trashes all the samples. Butcher calls off this attack on Homelander. Ryan's having none of it. He goes and he confronts his dad. And like you said, we talked about earlier, he does his best, but Homelander takes him down. And Homelander is going to kill him. I mean, Homelander thinks he's killed him. And that's what I was the parallel between Homelander and Omni-Man, where there's that moment right before at the end, right? Homelander's beating the shit out of him and he's got his hand pulled up and he's thinking about all this stuff, right? And then that exact same moment in Invincible, Omni-Man had his son in the same position and he flew away and left. Homelander doesn't do that. And this is the difference between Omni-Man and Homelander. Homelander goes for the death blow, whereas Omni-Man took off and went through his whole emotional crisis. Homelander doesn't have any of that. Now, as we learned at the very end, Ryan's not dead. Pretty fucked up, but he's not dead. But you get to see, I think, and like you're talking about, there is no redeeming quality about Homelander. There's nothing about this guy that you can find redeeming. Yeah, he's problem and he's had some issues and he's certainly fucked up in all sorts of directions. There's not one aspect of him when you watch this scene and you're done with this episode, you cannot find a redeeming quality about Homelander. He's just the biggest piece of shit that there is. Yeah, you're going to kill your own son? Like you're saying, he wasn't going to take any responsibility for anything that happened. Is trying to gain the acceptance of his father while at the same time killing his son. It's the most fucked up thing of all, but it's a great episode in this great moment in this series. I go to you, your thoughts.
No, I mean the whole episode was really good. There was a whole lot of different stories to be told. Black Spock and Mother's Milk sharing a cigar.
Yeah, and then saying I'm going to put a bullet in your head first chance I get.
Yeah, your whole plan is to take over Vaughn again, and just know that when that happens, my goal will be to, like you said, take care of you. It's just setting itself up to be a great season here. What's going to happen? I mean, at some point, you'd think at some point Homelander has to be stopped, right? And what's the collateral damage for when that eventually that mission is accomplished? Or does Homelander just win in the end?
That's a possibility. I mean, there's an element of
this. Sorry, let me, before you get going, I have one thing.
Sure. No.
This doesn't have to have a happy ending. None of this has been happy. There's nothing happy ending about any of it. Like, even in this episode, you look at the people that we think are the good guys. Well, you know what? To a whole lot of people, Huey's a bad guy too, just like we've seen, right? It's all perspective here. So
there are aspects of the episode as it's going along where, and again, I'll draw another parallel, but to a different series that we covered that ended kind of flatly for a lot of us, Umbrella Academy. Everybody sacrifices themselves at the end for the greater good in Umbrella Academy, right? This has a feeling like all these superheroes, Ryan's willing to sacrifice himself, Kimiko, Starlight, you may be right. I mean, at the end of this whole thing, what if, like this contingency, all the soups are gone, all the soups are dead. Like, I don't know how you're going to get rid of Soldier Boy, but if that virus is unleashed on the world as a sacrifice to get rid of all the soups, isn't that kind of like what they did in Umbrella Academy at the end, where they all sacrifice themselves for the prime timeline, that sort of thing?
It's going to be a wild ride to the end here. That's all I can say.
It really will. But I got to say, 3 episodes in, this season looks much stronger than season 4. We haven't got Marie Moreau involved yet from Gen V. They mentioned her in this episode, but she's not showing up yet, that sort of thing. So lots of stuff coming down the pike. with the boys. This final season looks like it's going to be excellent. We'll see what happens with Ryan. He's obviously going to recover and be really pissed off. He's going to realize his dad's the biggest piece of shit of all, too. He's like, he didn't care about killing him, that sort of thing. So,
well, yeah, think about Ryan. He was already willing to sacrifice himself to stop him. What's he going to be willing to do now? Because
yes.
he's gonna come back to full strength. You didn't kill him. You made him stronger.
Yeah, and his power, and his power seemed to be growing. We saw him take out a whole Russian paramilitary group with no problem in the Soviet Union or wherever the hell they were. So yeah, you're right. Ryan is getting stronger, and like you're saying, this whole event is probably going to make him even stronger. So great. I'm really, really, really pleased with the first 3 episodes because I think they've been fantastic, and I'm digging the boys' final season a lot right now. Let's shift gears to show number 2. You got any final thoughts on the boys, or you want to move on?
No, we can keep it moving.
Okay. Let's talk about the second show that we're covering out of the 3, Daredevil, Born Again, season 2, episode 5. We are officially at the halfway point of the season. And I know, and Patrick I know he was bummed that he wasn't here to talk about the show this week because there's a lot about this. It's interesting that I read a comment that they officially tied the Netflix series to Marvel with this episode. I know you haven't seen the Netflix Daredevil series, but they're right because there's aspects, the scenes like Wesley from the Netflix series, who was he was Kingpin's right-hand guy before Buck was. And you got to see it. And actually, he's the one who brings Buck into the fold, and he meets up with Buck at the art gallery and that whole thing. But they tie in so many elements of this episode to when Wilson Fisk and Vanessa first met, and they do it through these flashbacks and that sort of thing. But there's a direct correlation, a direct tie-in to the Netflix series, which of course is important because I guess somewhere along the way this week, Tony, they released a mid-season trailer for Daredevil, where I'm not sure when exactly it came out. I don't know if it was this week.
The worst person to ask about those because if I see those, I don't watch them.
Right.
I don't want to know any more than we already know.
There's an aspect of that where Jessica Jones is talking to Matt, saying they came to my house with my daughter there. And there's like, well, what do you want to do about it? She goes, I'm pissed. Jessica Jones pissed off is bad news for the anti-vigilante task force, but it also raises the possibility, the prospect. A lot of people are speculating that Jessica's daughter is the daughter she had with Luke Cage. We already know the Defenders are coming in for Daredevil Born Again season 3. Now it's just a question of when does Jessica come in here? But where I'm going with that is there's that direct tie into the Netflix series, and you get to see certain elements of what happened in that Netflix series here in this episode. This episode is all flashbacks. It really is. It's all flashbacks to different aspects that have happened as Matt is trying to save Bullseye. And as he's trying to save Bullseye, you get this flashback of what he and Foggy went through with, I forget the guy's name, but it was somebody who they're working for a different law firm at this time. It's not Nelson and Murdoch yet. They're working for a different law firm. And they go and they get hired on to represent this guy. And they're like, evidence is really strong. We're going to cut a deal, blah, blah, blah. And this guy explains to them, like, that's what they want me to do, is to cut a deal so I go to prison so they kill me. It's like, I won't be there for 2 days or barely for 2 minutes. And then Foggy finds, my wife commented, gotta love my wife. She's like, Foggy's wig is terrible. I'm like, all right, babe. I understand where you're going with this, but I'm looking at this from the story perspective. But thank you for noticing the cosmetic aspect of things. But Foggy finds just this little thing like the search warrant was bad. They executed a search warrant on the wrong address. That is a problem. It does nullify. Everything is fruit of the inadmissible tree at that point. So all the evidence that they had was gone. So they can get him off. And then Foggy basically takes all the money that he and Matt had squirreled away to start Nelson and Murdoch, gives it to him so this guy could have a fresh start. This is the essence of who Foggy was. And I know, and it's like, you really have to, and this is a direct tie back to the Netflix series as to who Foggy was, why he was. But like Pat was saying in the chat that we have, that this really explains why Matt is who he is, and his memory of Foggy and what Foggy was, what he stood for, the things that he stood for really motivates him. Even at the moment in this episode where he's like, I can't save both of us. and he's going to abandon Bullseye. And Bullseye's telling him the whole fucking episode, leave me. Leave me. This is my penance. The scales are balanced. I'm fine with this. Matt won't let it go. And he's about to, and then he has this memory of Foggy. And I've talked too much before we get into the Vanessa stuff. Let me go to you. Because and the only reason I'm talking this much is because I know you haven't seen the Netflix series, but it's crucially important to this episode more than anything. The tie-in and the crossover to all the Netflix stuff is so in your face here that it's hard not to talk about that. But I go to you, my friend.
No, you talk about Marvel or DC or Star Wars or any of the things that have a long history of storytelling that's so grand and vast. We always are like, hey, give me the in betweens, give me the stuff that connects the big things. We want to know everything. So it was nice to see those. It was kind of cool to see Matt Murdock with the sunglasses and the old, like, what is it, purplish blue kind of round sunglasses on. I
Yeah.
thought that was a really cool visual in one of the flashback scenes, and it was nice the way they wove it into the story, because that wasn't the only thing going on, was telling the flashback. It was, like you said, the suspense of trying to save Bullseye, and then probably the biggest story of the episode we're probably about to get to. But Daredevil, the boys this season has gotten so much better than it was last season, and I'm glad, because we're all enjoying that coming to an end. Daredevil, this is just, and Pat even said it, it's kind of stepping up to, even it's on itself, another level
Yeah.
of how they're delivering their story. And we're gonna get we're gonna get to Invincible after this. There's a reason why we're covering 3 shows right now. And if it was there's not a lot of shows like the 3 we're watching right now and enjoying so much.
No, we're lucky because all 3 shows are delivering in different ways, but they're all phenomenal. And I'm really glad that I know we broke the mold a little bit to cover the 3 shows, but they're, like you say, Daredevil really steps up a different level. And like, you get to see the goodness of Foggy, which makes his loss hurt even more, to be honest with you. For those of us who watch the Netflix series and learn to love Foggy and the intricacies that were there with him. But let's talk about Vanessa and Wilson, because that is the linchpin of this series at this point, and where I think Wilson Fisk coming unglued is probably going to be with what happens at the end of this episode. Meanwhile, along the way, Daniel, I love this stuff with Daniel and Buck, where Daniel thinks he's about to get Goodfella out in the fucking booty somewhere, right?
Sopranos.
Yeah, the Sopranos. Godfather, insert gangster trope here, but Daniel thinks that this is happening to him. And he's going out there, and especially when Buck comes out of the lumber store with a power saw, chainsaw sort of thing, and a shovel. All there was missing was lime. If there was like lime in the truck, I'd be like, that's perfect, So Daniel thinks he's going to get offed in the woods. And then Buck basically says, you want the saw or the shovel? Now, question is, I don't know who was in the trunk. I think it was the Russian dude.
Yeah, it was the first mate of the ship.
Okay.
Yeah, I love the fact though, he's like, yeah, do you want to cut the person up, or do you want to dig a big fucking hole?
Yeah, exactly. What did he say? I'll take the shovel. Is that what he
I think
says?
he said, yeah, I think he was like, I'll shovel instead of doing that.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, and Daniel has so many conflicted things, because he obviously loves BB. And he's like, try not to give any information. And he's basically telling her, stop the shit you're doing, because they're going to be on to both of us. And, he gives it away that Vanessa's in critical condition, which then gets leaked to the press. We don't know if it was BB who did that. It could have been a lot of people saying, yeah, critical condition. But yeah, let's talk about Wilson and Vanessa, because you get the whole flashback of when they met. You get Vanessa's her whole, and I don't know if this is her in her head. I think it's in her head that she's going through like a life review, which you hear about this when people are near the end. They go through a life review. The neurosurgeon talks to Wilson Fisk and says, look, she's been badly injured. I'm going to do everything in my power to save her. And it looks like he's successful. But you notice right away there's issues here with her when she comes out of the coma and she's asking for pineapple juice. And he's like, but dear, that makes your lips tingle. It's an allergic reaction. She's like, well, let's see what happens and that sort of thing. So he gives it to her and she's like, this is delightful. And you can already tell from watching her, there's some cognitive issues going on before whatever happens at the end, because she's not remembering things. She's repeating things that have just happened. It's like, so, her long-term memory is not working properly, or maybe it's her short-term memory. I don't know. I don't know. It's one or the other. Something's going on with her. It seems like she's going to survive and be okay. And then something dramatically happens at the end, whether it's some sort of stroke, which is probably what it was.
Yeah, aneurysm likely.
Yeah. Or something that happens at the end. And she's being, they're working on her. They're resuscitating her. She flatlines. It certainly seems like she's dead. We don't know that yeah, I think so. We don't know it for sure. No one's announced it, but I think that that's pretty obvious that she's out of here. And Wilson is going to have to deal with the fallout. And there you go. Which one is that?
That's Hawk.
Hawk is, what's up, Hawk? He's like, you guys are idiots, man. I can tell you everything that's going on. But yeah, it certainly looks like Vanessa.
It's like, when are you guys getting to Thundercats, huh?
Yeah. And I think even during the episode, Matt Murdock talks to, I don't remember who Daredevil talks to about what will happen if she dies. And it's like they'll turn the whole city upside down in Fisk.
He's talking to Bullseye about it.
Yeah.
Why he wanted to keep him alive. He's like, he's not just going to come for, he's going to come for both. He's not just going to come for you. He's going to come for me too. I was there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you're going to see that happen now. If she's died, and there are all indications are that she succumbed to this and that she's done, the wrath of the Kingpin is going to be fairly dramatic, I would imagine, and very difficult for anybody who is a vigilante or vigilante adjacent at this point in time, because hell hath no fury like Wilson Fisk scorned. And I mean, the love of his life is gone. That's going to be a big problem. I go to you, your thoughts on Vanessa's likely 95% sure she's dead. I leave that 5% because they didn't announce it officially, but what do you think is the fallout from all that?
How unwound will Wilson Fisk be? I mean, is he going to be so lost that he doesn't care about how his city perceives him anymore? And he's really tried so hard to build that image of being able to say, I've given you the, city you've always wanted, the best image you've had in your head. I'm trying to give it to you. I think all that takes a backseat to revenge now. I mean, you see the way that he's a smart man, but he's not even smart enough to stay out of the way in the beginning when she's going to the hospital of the people that are trying to, he's not, when he loses his mind, there's no real way of thinking that's logical. It's just kind of going to be a direct shark smells blood, needs food. He's going on the attack. He's going after Bullseye. He's going after Daredevil.
Yeah, I think you raise a really good point, Tony, that how unhinged will he be? Will he just give up all this pretense, that he's looking out for the best interests of New York when she's gone and that buffer is gone and all that comes down, and his whole purpose shifts from I'm the mayor of New York to vengeance at all costs.
Think about the foreshadowing with her meeting with the governor too. I don't trust Mayor Fisk. I trust Mayor and Mrs. Fisk. Well, now he's going to have everybody else even more up his ass too.
Yeah. I mean, the walls will be closing in on certain sides, but I think you're right. He'll just go full, tyrant at this point and really make things difficult. And that's important because, most people are anticipating Jessica shows up here in episode 6. So you start the back half of the season, with a 10-episode season, right? Yeah, 10-episode season. So getting Jessica involved at this point, and she, as pissed off as Fisk is going to be about Vanessa dying, if Jessica's daughter was threatened, she's going to be a handful for these guys to deal with because she's got superpowers. Matt's got super senses and knows how to fight. Jess has got super strength and is, she's meaner than Matt is. I mean, in a lot of ways, she's meaner than Matt is and can be every bit of a bigger problem for this anti-vigilante task force. But I think, the first half of the season was phenomenal in every way. And like you're saying, it just keeps building on each other. Like Pat's saying, it's just a show that continues to build on each other. And where we go in the back half of the season with bringing Jessica in, but Vanessa exits. Man, it's going to be, I mean, you know, ultimately at the end of the day, somewhere around the last episode, we're going to get Matt Murdock versus Wilson Fisk like round 3. And that might be their bloodiest battle of all time, because a lot of everything that was kind of keeping them, I don't know, not at arm's length from each other, but just like restrained to a certain extent. And if you watch a Netflix series, the restraint was very light. They were trying to kill each other then. All that stuff's going to be gone when they meet each other this third time. And that's a disturbing thought for anybody who's a fan of these guys, you know?
Yeah, I don't have much more to add than that. I'm looking forward to, like we already said, recovering 3 great things. So
We are. And before we get to that third great thing, I think it's time we take our first commercial break here, Tunney, so you can let people know all the cool stuff going on at thechairshot.com and all that fun stuff. I know you're going to post it right there. There you go. ProWrestlingTees.com/thechairshot. Lots of great options, clothing options, apparel options, t-shirts. I mean, Ray Cash was wearing a very good one yesterday during the post show. Jesus did the job. His dad was a promoter. You can get all that sort of stuff.
there you go. ProWrestlingTees.com/thechairshot.
Why should you visit thechairshot.com? Thechairshot.com is your home for hard-hitting reviews, news, opinion, and analysis with attitude. Why? Because you're smarter than the average fan. Thechairshot.com. Always use your head.
Welcome back into Bandwagon Nerds, everybody, here on this lovely WrestleMania Sunday. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you're enjoying WrestleMania. If you're complaining about the match times, you're right. We were too, just so you know. Sorry, Ray. Had to throw that out. All right.
Please don't stir that up again. Me and him almost got into it last night.
I was looking at the chat in the Big Five chat, and I'm like, wow, these guys are trying. Yeah, it's like, Ray, you are on an island to yourself, my friend. But you know, it's all right. We love Ray. He can think what he wants, just like you thinking Dominic's winning tonight. It's all you, Tunney.
Oh my God, wheel of biggest. Just okay. We got to keep moving. I really have a lot of shit to do today, so we are running way behind here.
Yeah, I got you, man. All right, let's talk Invincible. So probably save the best for last of the shows. Jesus, this episode is just like, holy shit. And I mean, you keep saying that multiple times. When we talked about what is Emperor Targ? Is that what his name is? Thrag. That's the second time I fucked his name up. I'm sorry, Tony. It's an old man thing, but Thrag. So the episode begins with everybody, the coalition, or what is the coalition of these badasses, on their way to Viltrum to take out Thrag. And early on in the episode, we learned that Thrag is not like the other Viltrumites, right? We get like we talk about, I think before we even get to that, we get the flashback, right, of the Emperor who was in charge before. And what's the name of the guy who Optimus Prime who does the voice? Thanos, is that his name? Or the one who poisoned everybody with the virus?
Oh, the betrayer?
Yeah, the betrayer. You can just call him the betrayer. You get this flashback. Tony's going to look him up.
I'm trying, but anywhere you go, they just really don't give you a solid list of what you're trying to find.
It's the bastards. But you get the flashback where the betrayer is like asking the Emperor at the time, and Thrag's his like first lieutenant, you know, sort of thing, like second in charge. And he's actually like, there's a planet where the beings are
Sinclair. Is it Sinclair?
No, that's the weird guy with the brain. See, this is why Ray should have showed up, because he knows all these names by heart. But they're on a planet where the indigenous species are actively sabotaging them, right? And they're like showing bombs and things. Thaddeus, thank you. Thaddeus. Like Thaddeus Ross.
So okay, so Thaddeus is the betrayer. Right. Thrag is the guy who took over for Emperor Argyle.
Argyle. That's right.
Argyle is the skull that Thrag carries around. And we get to see Argyle for the first time in a meeting where Thrag is like studying to take over for Argyle, and Thaddeus you can see in this flashback meeting is, disagreeing with the ways that the Viltrumites are trying to control the universe.
Right, and you get to see the tension right there between Thaddeus and Argyle, right? Argyle,
Yes.
yeah, Argyle,
Yes.
got it right. And he's like preaching mercy for the indigenous species who keep trying to sabotage them, saying that they'll learn more by being merciful towards them than exterminating them. Argyle and Thrag don't necessarily agree, although Thrag's a little bit more middle of the road than Argyle is at this point, right? And he's kind of like saying, well, maybe we should rethink this. But then there's a go ahead, Tony. Sorry.
No, I think I think he's subtly is agreeing in a weird way.
Yeah, in a roundabout way.
Because what happens? Because what happens next is he does exactly what he says.
Yeah, he's not as adamant as Argyle is about exterminating. And what did Argyle says? Reduce the population by 25%. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's okay with that. It never comes to pass though because Argyle gets assassinated by a Viltrumite traitor. And when Thrag takes over, his first decree is purge the weak. And it sets off Viltrumite versus Viltrumite. And this is still at the height of their power. So there's not only 50 of them, there's thousands of them. Well, or millions of them. They probably exterminated 100,000 of each other in just this brutal, bloody fight between everybody. That's just like, I mean, it is as visceral as you want to get. These guys just destroy each other with unbelievable violence and that sort of thing. I mean, I love the scene. At the end, they just pile up the bodies, right? And you're just, and then they start putting them in coffins. And
the bodies are almost like they're rings of Saturn around their planet.
Well, I think okay, so I think the bodies around the planet are the ones who died from the virus, right? And they put him. I think the ones who killed each other during this purge, they actually look like they were putting them in coffins or something like that, or trying. I think that's what it was.
Just throw them out into the body ring.
Well, the body ring comes afterwards. I think that comes after this whole thing because
that's a flashback. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So when they approach, we learn that Thrag is not like other Viltrumites. We learn that he's much stronger. He's been trained better. He's a better fighter. He's better equipped. Whatever it's like Superman on super steroids, which is like that's a frightening thought to begin with. And you're like, well, how do we beat this guy? It's like, and they're like, don't let him isolate you. We'll all attack him at once, and it'll be fine. The problem with this plan is, though, as they're flying through the ring of bodies, they don't realize that Thrag's already a step ahead of him, and he's positioned some of his Viltrumite generals and guards, wedged them in with these ring of bodies, so you can't see them until it's too late. So this 8-on-1 fight between all of these guys and Thrag turns into a very even fight. And it just is like, holy shit, we're going at these things. And before we get to that, your thoughts on it up to this point, Tony, as Thrag is obviously, we learn really quick, he's a different breed of cat entirely. Everybody's showing up to take him down, but he's already outsmarted these guys. So nothing right off the bat, it's like, okay, nothing is going like they're planning. This is all going straight to the shitter. Go ahead.
Yeah, the only other thing I would mention before we get into the craziness that's about to happen is like the final meal the group kind of has on the spaceship.
Yeah.
It's kind of a fun little interaction there.
Alan eating the little beings, and it's like, they have faces and that sort of thing. It's like, well, your moo cows have faces. Like, no one says moo cow, Alan, that sort of thing. And
what would be your last meal, Battle Beast? My last meal will be my blood as I choke on it, losing to a superior, combatant and dying. It will be sweet.
Yes.
Like, oh, Battle Beast, I love you.
He's so good. He's so great.
He is great. Yeah, I mean, Thrag's scary. He's like unstoppable. Like, and honestly, when we get to the end of this, if he wanted to, he could have just killed everybody before he disappeared. But he had bigger plans, and we'll get to that. But yeah, they show up, and like some people in the ring are there, and now it's game on, and thank goodness for Space Racer and all the tools that they got, like the demon guys, the dinosaur demon guys are just tearing them apart. The gun obviously is like the they're
Super
ace
weapon.
they're ace in the hole, right? Or they're up their sleeves. So yeah, shit hits the fan. Go ahead, take it from there, Dave. I mean,
Yeah, we're
it
gonna
gets
see.
crazy.
Yeah, Oliver does what Mark told him not to do and tries to take on Thrag by himself and gets his jaw detached from his body for his trouble. So Oliver's pretty much dead, so
And his
long.
arm.
And his arm. Yeah, he gets that detached as well. Um, Omni Man has we get this moment where Omni Man and Thrag have a one on one. And obviously, there's some history between these two guys. They end up on the Viltrum surface discussing things with each other. And Thrag really tries to get through to Omni Man that I want to rebuild Viltrum in our image, the image that we'd set out to do. And, there's moments here where you really think Omni Man's going to say, all right, yeah, let's do this. Let's save everybody. But he doesn't. His ideals, and we see how he's changed at this point. Go ahead, Tony.
If he wouldn't have already damn near basically, and he doesn't even know for sure one way or another, killed Oliver, then maybe, right? Like he basically said, there is no place for Oliver. You are weak. You are pointless. You are worthless. You can see what happens in the end. There is some respect for Invincible as well. There should be. And yeah, why wouldn't Thrag knows how strong Nolan is. He's probably after Conquest and Thrag, it's Nolan right at the moment. Invincible's going to surpass all of them, but man, Thrag is scary and dangerous and smart. He's smart, Dave.
He is. He's very smart, and he uses that smarts to his advantage, and it almost works. You can tell Omni Man's thinking about it. Then he says no, and from there you get the battle in space, and it's not going very well. And then Omni Man has, and I think it was when he was on the planet's surface that he got this idea. That's where it dawned on him. Here's what we need to do. He wants to rebuild Viltrum. The only way we can stop that is destroy the planet. And so they use the space racer, the super weapon, fire it into the surface of the planet, which acts like a nuclear explosion. It's what? It's Thaddeus, it's Nolan, it's Mark going into the planet surface, going
Right
to the
behind it.
planet core. Their clothes are disintegrating, their goggles are disintegrating. They all come out shirtless, but they accomplish what they wanted to do, and they set off a Kryptonian chain reaction that destroys the Viltrum planet to the shock and dismay of everybody who's watching this. All the Viltrumites who are fighting at this point are just beyond stunned at, oh my God, our planet's gone. And Thrag snaps at that point in time. And there's, and at like that point, he becomes the scariest version of himself, like you're saying. And there is nobody who's going to stop him. He stops himself. He basically punches through Nolan's stomach. It's something these guys have an issue with intestines and disembowelment in this series, but he punches through Nolan's stomach. Mark reacts, of course, violently to the perceived death of his father, goes after Thrag, and whatever Mark is going to evolve into eventually, he's nowhere near that right now because he's no match for Thrag. Thrag's got his hands in his eyes and can kill him, like you said. And he basically says, everybody's like urging him on, the other Viltrumites, finish it. And he's like, no, there's been too much death already. We've lost too many. And he leaves them, and they take off. Mark recovers with Nolan. They recover. Oliver's in, it looks like a Star Wars Bacta tank, basically where he's at. And they're trying to figure out, there's no sign of Thrag. There's no sign of the surviving Viltrumites. They're trying to figure out where they went. And you can see it descend on Mark like a fucking avalanche. He knows exactly where they've gone. Oh my God, they've gone to Earth. They're gonna make you destroyed our planet. We're gonna take over yours. That's got to be the mindset of Thrag and the Viltrumites. And that sets up the final episode coming up this week. This is the penultimate episode, but Jesus, what an episode. I go to you for the wrap up here, my man.
Couple things. Thrag shows emotion. You see tears rolling out of his eyes. The one thing that meant the most to him, right? And we talked about the difference between Homelander and Thrag is there was a family, a weird, fucked up family, but there was a support system and a family there for him, and there's nothing like that for Homelander. Thrag instantly knew that Oliver would never be as strong enough to be what he envisions as the Viltrum race. While killing Mark, he realizes, oh, we can make super strong Viltrumites with humans. That's why he's going to Earth.
Yeah. Well, it's a good point. He knows that the Thraxans are just not genetically
But
compatible.
he can tell Mark's not at his full potential, but he can feel the power and the potential.
That's a really good point. That it may be more than just you destroyed our home, we're going to destroy yours. It could be
Take
like
it
you're saying,
over, enslave
take it
them,
over,
and make the strongest race they still can possibly make.
hybridize these guys and make, and repopulate. We're down to 50. We can be quickly up to 50,000 in no time. Let's take over this planet. So yeah, you're going to go ahead.
And they're gonna, and the ones that they do make, they would, and if this were to happen, they would make them fight it out to only the strong survive of that portion of their race as well.
Yeah, there's going to be some Hunger Games shit going, or Squid Game shit going on with whoever's left over on the planet after all this stuff ends. But man, I made the comment to Ray, and I'll make it to you, that it just seems like with season 4 of Invincible, each episode somehow outdoes the one before it. I don't know how they're doing it, but like, I guess you watched it this morning, right? You watched this episode this morning. Dude, like, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time with this episode. Like, what is going to happen here? This is like, it was one of the most intense episodes of the entire series so far, just not knowing how this is all going to turn out. Who's going to live? Who's going to die? Is he going to kill Mark? And, he's not going to kill Mark. How's Mark going to survive? There's one point where Space Racer's going to die and Zoe repairs his mask. We thought he's going to die. That doesn't happen. Thaddeus gets killed by Thrag, and so he's gone, which makes Alan the de facto leader of the coalition.
Right.
Which is, it's like, wow, Alan's in charge now. There's so much going on in this episode. But I mean, how are you feeling about the season overall? It's been tremendous, and it just seems to be getting better.
As much as I'm enjoying, again, the boys, and have been Daredevil, Invincible has been my favorite thing that we've been doing all along, and this just has delivered in the utmost. And now finally, 2 episodes later, after Patrick's prediction, sorry, Patrick, I had to bring it up again, we're finally going back to Earth. And, they could have done it the way Patrick said, and it found a way, and that could have been really good storytelling. But the way they have done it, because of the fact of, I think maybe we vetted it out, Dave, Thrag could be headed to Earth because it's the only viable way in his mind to save his race.
Yeah, his planet is gone. I'll make a new Viltrum right here. And maybe I'll make a new Viltrum. We'll repopulate. Mark, we know that the human hybrid will work. You may be very, very right about that. That's a really good point. Next week's the season finale. I don't think this is the last season. I don't think that maybe it could be, but I don't know, man. That's a lot to wrap up in one episode. Maybe they get a 5th season out of it. Got to figure Eve's involved, at this whole thing, and the whole Guardians of whatever the hell is going to be. But tremendous season. It's been awesome. This episode was amazing. We'll see what happens in this season finale. All right. Go ahead, Ben.
Yes, Invincible season 5 is confirmed and has already received an early renewal from Amazon Prime.
And there's no reason not to do it. I mean, there's nothing about this series that is not slowing down. Like,
or is this season 5?
This is 4.
Okay. Then it's telling me season 5.
Yeah, I mean,
February to April 2027. So
okay.
Year.
So 1 year they're doing it in these 1 year increments. Perfect. It's awesome. It's awesome. All right, Tony, you want to feel like playing a little banjos here? I mean, we haven't done that in a while, but we're about to go to the trailer park. So
we did last week. So
did you?
Okay. We got it back again, and one of these days we'll have the full bandwagon. But for now, we do have banjos. Keep it short and sweet. Don't want to bug any copyrights. Back to you, Dave.
All right. Welcome into the trailer park. We are going to talk CinemaCon in a little bit here at the back end of this episode, as we're trying to expeditiously get through all this information. And there's a lot of it this week because we are a little bit behind. We got a WrestleMania to deal with, but we got a few trailers to talk about this week. And I think we're going to start off with, and let me just make sure I've got this bad boy ready to roll here. I got too many fucking windows open, Tony. Hold on a sec. All right, I'm almost ready for this. Okay. All right, let me get back on here. Perfect. All right, so the first trailer we're going to talk about is we got the final official trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is a movie, Star Wars returning to the theaters for the first time since Rise of Skywalker. I mean, it's been 7 years since we had a Star Wars movie in the theaters. Now, it doesn't mean that we haven't had a lot of Star Wars stuff going on. Yeah, I hear you, buddy. I got an idea. You know, we'll talk about that in a minute. But Mandalorian and Grogu, we got the show, and we got the last trailer from the Super Bowl that you and I were massively critical of. I think you and I both had the same reaction, like, "What the fuck is this?" Just yes. pretty harsh. But we're gonna watch the latest trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is the last official trailer. We are about a month away from this coming out in the movies, which is shocking to think, wow, we're here already. And I think this trailer that we're going to watch really kind of redeemed things a bit. And I'm actually like, okay, now I'm into this movie. This looks like it's going to be good. Let's see if we can't check out this trailer. And all right, whoop, hold on a sec. That's not what I want to do. Let me try that again, Tony. I did the wrong thing there. There it is. Okay. Now
I believe in you.
Shit. I'm glad you do, because I know I just screwed that one up. Hold on. God. This is every time, you know, this is live podcasting, kids. This is what happens when you go live. It's just, you know.
Moon River.
This is not.
Oh, well, be sure to tune in to this very channel coming up in an hour and 20 minutes. We'll be having WrestleMania 42 Night 2. I haven't even started drinking yet. Preview show, myself, Ray Cash, and DJ from the Mindless Wrestling Podcast, the man with the award-winning beard, back today for a Star Wars Mandalorian and Grogu trailer.
I got it, man. I got it.
I told you I believed in you.
We've all heard stories of the Mandalorian bounty hunter and a child.
I only hunt Imperial war criminals. I'll take out every bad guy in your deck of cards.
The video is not playing. It's paused, even though the audio's
what?
going.
This isn't about revenge.
Might have to
it's
abort
about
here.
Preventing another war.
There it goes.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Here we go. Sorry, man. I didn't think it would do that.
We've all heard stories of the Mandalorian bounty hunter and a child.
I only hunt Imperial war criminals. I'll take out every bad guy in your deck of cards.
This isn't about revenge. It's about preventing another war.
Before going into harm's way, check your armor first.
We're protecting everything the rebellion fought for.
Good luck. You're gonna need it. Hey. Strap in.
We need a professional.
Hang on.
What happens when you're not there to protect him?
You good? I'll be right behind you. Go. Go!
Mandalorian, you will suffer. Then it will be his turn.
Monsters. The old protect the young. And then the young protect the old. Each time.
Are you scared? You should be.
Good job, baby.
This is the way.
Okay. Your thoughts, Tony? Since I know we're running up against it here. So are
No,
you?
we got like 15, 16 minutes.
What
It's
did
a busy weekend, and it's all culminating right now. This looks great. I can't wait.
culmination?
I'm going to this. I'm gonna, if it's in 3D and the people I go with can watch 3D, I'm going to it. It's one of many movies I'm going to be going to between now and Doomsday at the end of the year. So I'm super excited to get this movie season going, and it's likely that this will be the first one I go to see. That it's been a bit.
Yeah, this trailer really redeemed a lot of stuff for me because it wasn't this cute little marketing ploy. This felt like a Star Wars trailer. There's stakes involved. There's the Hutts are out to get these guys. You know, they're out to they're after Mando. They're after Grogu. You get to see the AT-ATs. You get to see all this other stuff. It felt like a real Star Wars. You get to see X-Wings. There's all sorts of things going on in this trailer. And it's like, okay, this feels like Star Wars. Still don't know how this ties into Ahsoka, if at all. But I was really pleased with this trailer. And I don't know if I'm just massively excited by everything because it's like there's still problems here. But this definitely made me more excited. I'm like you. I'm going to go be seeing it like almost immediately. Well, obviously we're all going to see it opening weekend because we're going to talk about it here on the show.
I'll see it Saturday morning. I'll see it the first showing Saturday, which this big of a movie, hopefully like 10 a.m. or something.
In Screen X, you'll be seeing it in Screen X.
If 3D would be my first thing, and then Screen X maybe, yeah. Otherwise, just a super screen. But in the theater for sure. This is in the theater movie. Well,
Sweet.
Obviously for us, we're going to be covering it, so all four of us will see it and be on the show that weekend because it's big. Right. It's Star Wars, and it's a great thing that they sat back and went, "How do we continue Star Wars in the movies? What's going to be our way of doing that?" And it's through the Mandalorian, in my opinion, and this they just have. There's so much legs to this. From the series, and then you bring in, like, if anything ties in with Ahsoka, you got even more storytelling to do.
Right. It's this and Ahsoka, I think, are going to be the big ones.
I think you're done with like any particular Jedis or kind of things like that.
Yeah.
There should be some along the way, but they're not going to be the stars anymore here for a little bit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we'll see where they go after Ahsoka and that sort of thing. Got to figure out what happened to all the Mandalorians and her. But I think we're getting to that. Got another trailer I want to check out here. This one is, especially this weekend, is very related to what we talk about because Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns are in this movie. And it's coming from CinemaCon. We got our first trailer for Street Fighter somewhere in here. Shit. All right, maybe not.
Well, don't forget to head on over to prowrestlingtees.com/thechairshot. Check it out. Plenty of great t-shirt designs. Looks good. Protects your giblets. Feels good on you. Spend a little extra. Get it in soft style.
As long as it's protecting your giblets, that's the main thing.
Yeah,
you know what? Let's do this instead. We'll come back to Street Fighter because I got to figure out where the hell it went. It says it was okay. Let's do this instead. Let's talk a look. We got our first, we don't got a trailer for it. But we got our first, an announcement about the new Spaceballs movie coming out, which, as we're going to learn right now, is not going to be called Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money. And the man himself, Mel Brooks, came on to talk about it. So let's check this one out. There we go.
Nearly 40 years ago, a promise was made.
God willing, we'll all meet again in Spaceballs 2. The search for more money. Money, you know?
Hold it. Wait a minute. It's me, Mel Brooks. I have a major announcement. Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money, is not going to be the title of this movie. Why not? Because after all these years, I found the money. There it is, the money. It was in my basement. But everywhere I go, people say, Mel, Where's the new Spaceballs? When are you going to make the new Spaceballs? When are you going to make the new one? Well, we did it. And the title is Spaceballs, the new one. It's just like the old one, but it's newer. That's why it's called the new one. There you have it. I'll see you at the movies. And may the Schwartz be with you.
God bless Mel Brooks, right? I mean, the dude's 99 years old. He's still out there doing all that stuff. That's awesome. I mean, and I love the pivot. Spaceballs, the new one, because it's like the old one, but it's newer. Yeah. What do you think, man? I mean, they got footage of it at CinemaCon that a lot of people were excited about. I know we're going to have to cut this short and not really talk too much about CinemaCon, but people seem to be genuinely positive about what they're seeing from Spaceballs 2 so far.
I don't care what anybody says about it before I go and see it, because I'm going to go and see it. I saw the first one in the movie theater as a child. I've always bragged about how privileged I was to go see a whole bunch of cool movies in the 80s and early 90s with my family. But yeah, this is iconic. I'm going to go see it. I don't care what other people say. And yeah, Mel Brooks looks fucking great.
99 years old, man, and still out there just, well-spoken, has it together, yeah, he looks 99 sort of to a certain extent, but it's Mel Brooks, man. I mean, there are very few icons out there in the industry who are as recognizable or as, I'll just say it, iconic as Mel Brooks is, right? It's just awesome to see him, of all people, still out there and doing his thing, man. It's going to be cool. The movie's going to be great. Yeah, I'm looking for that. Okay, Tony, I found the trailer. We found it. I found the money. I mean, I found the trailer. I didn't find the money yet, but we're going to check out. Now we're going to do it.
The trailer, yeah. The next one.
The trailer, the next one. So we're going to take a look at this trailer for Street Fighter and see what we think of this. This one probably is a little bit more divisive than the last one, but it's still interesting. So let's get into it.
I'll wait till after the trailer to tell you I'm not going to see this one.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I got good news, y'all. Gathered here are the world's best fighters.
I won't deny it, I'm a street fighter.
But only one of which will be crowned the world champion of street fighting! You win! Perfect.
You're not a warrior anymore, you're a sideshow.
What's up, MTV? I'm Ken Masters.
This is your shot at redemption.
Who are you gonna show?
Stop. The path I'm on now is not one of combat.
Maybe it's Ken's turn to be champion.
How did you find me?
I'm paid to find champions. Even if they're lost.
25 years of my life is still trying to get up that great big hill of hope.
Good to see you, old friend. Still reckless.
I said, hey, what's going on?
Sit down. This tournament is not what it seems. We have to be ready.
Everyone keeps going on about your thighs. How do I see what pigtail is?
What's going on?
Bitch, please.
some abracadabra shit.
Oh, what's going on?
I'm positive that a fireball came out of Ryu.
Do it, Ryu! Perfect.
All right, Tony. Tell me why you're not going to see that one.
I'm not a Street Fighter guy. It looks really cool. It looks really cool. And I'll be honest with you, it'll probably be a lot of fun in the theater on the big screen like that, or 3D. I'm sure it's in 3D as well.
Yeah.
But I don't have a lot of faith in that this has a really good story. I'm not saying it's going to be a bad movie, and if it does its job, it's not. It should hold to be more like a video game made into a movie than a movie about a video game, because I don't think a movie about the Street Fighter video game is going to be very good. They have such an amazing cast of people though that they're going to sell a lot of tickets, and it's the reason that I want to watch it eventually. It's just not one of those movies I'm going to take the time to go to the theater for, especially right now, considering I'm going to be going to a bunch of movies this summer into the fall and winter.
It's very much the Mortal Kombat conundrum, right? I mean, there's similar video games, the same sort of thing. There's this loose story running through it. Yeah, how do you make a movie about the Street Fighter tournament? You know, and you're seeing in this trailer a lot of the telltale signs of the Street Fighter video game series: Fireballs, Ken, Ryu. You got all the characters, like you're saying. It's got a tremendous cast. Ken obviously looks like a troubled soul, and he's brought out of it. But I mean, I don't hate this trailer. And honestly, you know, sorry, Ray, I know how much you love Mortal Kombat. This has me more interested than the Mortal Kombat series does, just because I like the cast better. You know, it's people we're familiar with. Cody looks like Guile. You know, is that the character? I think that's the character he's playing. Looks very much like that. Roman's in here. I think he was the one that shifted into the green Hulk looking thing at the end there. Akuma, yeah. So
Jason Momoa is Blanca. 50 Cent is in here as Balrog. Alexander Volkanovsky is in here as Joe.
Blanca's the one I'm thinking of. Sorry.
Haruki Goto is in here as Honda. Eric Andre is in here. David Dastmalchian. Trying to see who else big stars are in here. That's Noah Centineo is playing Ken Masters. So there's a big, really nice cast. Mel Jarnson, Andrew Koji.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's a cool trailer. I like the trailer. They certainly made it look interesting, and yeah, the characters look like the characters. It looks very true to the video game. So
it does. Looks good.
We got a few minutes here before we got to cut you loose and get out of here. Let's talk real quick. No commercial breaks here. CinemaCon was down this week. Some of the stuff that came out.
Hey, Dave.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you tell me about CinemaCon?
I'm going to tell you about it.
Because I didn't have a chance to read.
No, that's cool. I got you. Spaceballs, we talked about that. Some of the stuff, this is coming from Gizmodo's article. I heard about, we got some footage. The footage that came out of CinemaCon that really got people talking. Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. We got new footage for that. People are very excited about that. That's the end of the Spider-Verse trilogy coming up. And go to the Gizmodo article. There's a lot of stuff. Denis Villeneuve showed the opening of Dune Part 3 at CinemaCon, and the reaction was, holy shit. Like they're comparing it to like a sci-fi Saving Private Ryan as the Fremen.
They need a reaction like that considering the weekend they're opening. So
yeah, well, I mean, and in this thing they're talking about the Fremen dropping to a new planet and getting eviscerated by killer lasers. That's very sci-fi Saving Private Ryan. The big news, of course, Avengers Doomsday, and a lot of what we're hearing confirmed coming out of what they saw. Shang-Chi fighting Gambit. What the hell's going on there? Thor fighting Doctor Doom. People are saying that, I've heard some things like, if you didn't know Robert Downey Jr. was playing Doctor Doom, you would never know just by hearing the voice. They've done that well with the whole thing, but I don't know when we're going to get a trailer, but obviously, yeah, why is Shang-Chi fighting Gambit? That's an interesting question.
Spell? Somebody could be under a spell.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But a lot of people are saying that this is that Doom feels like a bigger threat than Thanos. I don't know how that's possible.
Could be,
but if anybody can pull it off, it's him.
Could be a Gambit or Shang-Chi from a different Earth.
Yeah, that's true. But everything I'm hearing about Doomsday coming out of CinemaCon is very positive, and people are really excited about this. So when are we going to see the first official trailer? I still don't think it's till we get Brand New Day in theaters, that sort of thing. We got a movie called Whale Fall. The description is not on our radar. It's a movie about a diver who gets swallowed by a whale. The footage was intense. Think Jaws, but underwater. I don't know.
Hard pass.
People seem to be excited. Disclosure Day had some new information. I don't know a whole lot about what they were saying there. Just stuff in the trailer that people are missing. I heard about that. Highlander, my man Henry Cavill filming the new Highlander movie.
Isn't Drew McIntyre in that too?
I think so. They got some behind the scenes sizzle reel at CinemaCon. And of course, John Wick's director, Chad Stahelski, is in there. This is coming sometime in late 2027. People were excited about that. Grand Gear. I don't know. This is from Godzilla -1 director. Clayface with the latest James Gunn thing, which they're describing as saying they saw a tiny tease from it. It's coming in October. It was legitimately disturbing according to this, but in a great way. So it's a very different sort of James Gunn thing. Werewolf. I don't know. Dark, scary, gorgeous. Aaron Taylor Johnson.
I have to go. I have to go.
Okay. And we got Resident Evil footage, that sort of thing. But I don't know if you're into Resident Evil, that sort of thing. But a lot of other stuff coming out of CinemaCon. Any of that stuff exciting you, Tony?
I have to go. You can follow me at PC Tony. Dave, if you want to continue the show, you can. Otherwise, we have to wrap it up right now.
I'm not going to continue the show. I'd be flying solo. I do that for certain things, but not for this. You can check me out on attitudeofaggression.com and the Attitude of Aggression's YouTube channel. And that's it. Tune in next week. Bandwagoners will be back. Invincible ends next week, Tony. So we'll be talking about that.
It's going to be huge. It's going to be
if we can handle it. But that's going to do it. Until next time, everybody, get out of the basement, get some sun, go read about CinemaCon yourself. We got too much stuff going on this weekend. Tony, thank you for being a part of this as always, my friend.
Paragon of love.
Always.